Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and it's 24 videos. I'm sorry, 26 videos in 24 hours. We had a couple of extras in there. Thought I was going to do 24 and 24 at the top of every hour. We're down to the last two videos, and joining me is Andrew Smith. He's one of the co-hosts in the Action for Assange network. That's Action, the number 4, Assange.com for the website. The same thing for their YouTube channel, which I encourage you to subscribe to. You can follow him on Twitter at Andrew Zigmund and see all of his stuff. But these guys are the people on the ground still holding the light for Julian Assange, and a very important issue that the majority of Americans are not discussing whatsoever, Andrew. So first, tell us how you got involved in this and where you guys are trying to take the Action for Assange network. And I lost your audio, Andrew. Andrew, I lost your audio.
There? Okay. Yeah. So initially, Action for Assange was just an idea, like a brainchild between Taylor and I. We had met doing a different podcast a little bit before that, which a shout out to him in the Anonymous Bites Back podcast. Super awesome out of narrative information, accurate reporting for like global events. And then I would also, so after Taylor and I went on there, we just started talking behind the scenes, found out we were both in basically like the Ohio area. Started meeting up, started talking, hanging out more, and just decided that we wanted to do activism together. That she was a journalism major. I had a history in political organizing for the Green Party in Ohio. I'm actually a part of the Central Committee for the Green Party of Ohio. Full disclosure there. But so I took my knowledge of being able to do like almost flash organizing, impromptu organizing, the connections that I had from working with so many various groups, from libertarian groups in Ohio to democratic progressive groups throughout the country. So I brought those connections with her knowledge and my knowledge, plus her knowledge of actual journalism and reporting, pulled it all together, and then brought in Steve. And Christy was supposed to be our first guest, but turned into just a host with us. And then it's kind of just evolved since there. When we first started, actually, dirty secret, we didn't even have a show format. It was just, okay, we got people, we got stuff to talk about, how are we putting this out? And 4 episodes in, we actually decided, okay, this is like the structure of the show and how we're doing it. So it was pretty seat of our pants kind of thing.
Well, you've been doing it, you've kept strong, and you continue to cover this subject when almost nobody else, even in the alternative media, is covering this subject. And obviously, I'm doing this broadcast because at midnight tonight, the terms of service changes on YouTube to where they have no obligation to host anyone's video. And if your channel is no longer commercially viable, they can simply delete it. You can have 0 strikes. You cannot go against any of the quote-unquote community standards that they've rammed down our throats in the last few years. And I've got to ask you, do you guys think you're still going to be around? And I know that you also simulcast to Periscope. Is there an alternative platform you're looking at?
So we are looking into alternative platforms. I've submitted a couple different things to be able to go live on a few other channels. The big limitation and the hard part we run into is a video distribution service. Currently, we use one called Restream that allows you to connect to multiple platforms. Like we're on Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, a couple different Facebook accounts, occasionally a couple different YouTube accounts at the same time. But then to be able to link in other certain resources, like not that we're going to stream on it, but for example, Pornhub, you have to pay a certain amount. It's like $16 each month to Restream to be able to put in that RTMP code to be able to be able to actually broadcast onto their service. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword to where there's so many different options, but at some point it may turn into, okay, which ones can we financially afford to put in, and how much money can we put in each week to keep this operation up and running?
Absolutely. And you made me aware of something that I hadn't really been following, but it's the FairTube YouTube attempt at a union. And these guys are trying to basically challenge the idea that we're all, at least people that are fully employed, through YouTube that we're all, independent or we work for ourselves. No, we're in fact employed by YouTube in many of these cases, and they're trying their hardest to bring creator rights to the forefront. Why don't you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, so Fairtube is actually a combination of Jorg, that gentleman right there who runs the Slingshot channel on YouTube, a super old creator. He's weathered all of the demonetization storms, but has seen channels of friends and colleagues and rivals just get deleted by YouTube at their will, not for any real legitimate reasons, not for calls to violence and crazy things, but just because YouTube wanted them gone or didn't want their content seen. So he decided to form a union. And he got in contact with, I can't remember the name, I want to say it's Wolf something, but the oldest steel metal union in Germany. And they decided that they were going to represent Jorg and all of the YouTubers in Europe and around the world for the actual formation of a YouTubers union. They laid out a list of demands and set deadline dates for YouTube before actions would start happening. And YouTube, at the deadline date, said no YouTuber, no YouTube organizer, and Jorg himself, like the main YouTube organizer, can come and speak on behalf of the community, that it would only be a meeting with the lawyers. And in true union fashion, they took a vote and they said, no, we're not meeting with them. We're going to start acting now. So what they did is they decided to start, and I would actually ask everyone watching right now to participate in this. They started a certified letter campaign. So there's a website that you can go to that you can mail letters to YouTube headquarters, and it literally makes someone pull out a pen and sign for the letters. And their goal is to get such a volume of letters that it costs legitimate time, resources, and energy to sign for each of these certified letters, because it's not like they can sift through and turn away certain ones. You either do or don't receive the letters. So it's just a really interesting, very simple, almost like show of force for the people paying attention to what YouTube's trying to do. And even if you're not a creator, you can get involved and support creators that are in it and let other creators know that it's going on too.
So yeah, I mean, obviously taking the manpower option and trying to force them to pay attention, that is a very clever way to do so, because hey, they can just not read an email, right? They can just not answer the phone. They can put you on hold and give you an automated message. But when you need a physical person to take these letters and take the time out to sign for them, I think that is rather brilliant. Unfortunately, I still don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't think that a bunch of us are going to get kicked off. I hope I'm going to remain on the platform. I've certainly never tested their terms of service before this. I've never gotten a strike or anything like that due to my content. However, I had Dylan Avery on earlier, and Dylan and I are two of the guys that did Loose Change together. And he had Loose Change on his personal YouTube channel that I believe has less than 1,000 subscribers, doesn't have many subscribers whatsoever, had it unlisted, was not even available to the public, and YouTube yanked it down about 2 weeks ago and said that it went against the community standards. We covered it here. We showed the email that they sent to him. Lo and behold, Corey Rowe, who's the other part of the Loose Change crew, actually has the same version uploaded to his YouTube channel, now with, I think, between 250,000 and 500,000 views, and there's no strike, and it hasn't been taken down. And I think it's monetized.
I think Corbett actually covered what they're planning on doing now a while back when he talked about, I can't remember what organization it is, so I'm not going to pretend like I do, but he talked about how there was one news company that wrote an opinion piece about how to get rid of the alternative media. And the move was do it all at once so no one can talk to anyone else about what's actually happening and can't make videos about the other people that are being removed. And so I thought that was a really interesting thing. And then to see YouTube continually build the pressure, slow roll some channels off, create this like air of like legitimate content evaluation or illegitimate, I should say, where you have people that get thrown off. I want to say like Steven Crowder, I want to say his name was, like the literal just some dude talking shit on the internet, which is what the internet's for. But then you can go and search any goddamn kind of video you want about not about, but videos specifically designed for like child grooming. And those videos have existed on YouTube for decades. And they don't get taken off, but they're going to make scenes and feign this concern about kids watching content and about what content actually gets put on here when they just allow like the dark shit to just exist in the background.
Well, 100%, but I think that with the FTC thing, just like this, non-commercially viable thing, you're going to see selective enforcement. So they may try to scare people financially. Just hit them with one or two of those $40,000+ fines. Doesn't matter that all of my videos are labeled not for kids. Hey, I did a video on Bella Thorne and how she talked about being raped from the time she was 6 years old to 14 when she was working for the Nickelodeons and the Disneys. And I happened to put Disney ears in my thumbnail. Is that going to attract children? Is that something that's going to get me fined? Those are the type of concerns I have, that clearly my stuff is adult and adult content, but because visually something may capture a child's eye, it doesn't matter that the YouTube rotation only promotes your video for 24 hours. It doesn't matter I did that months ago, if not a year ago. I think that they're going to look for those certain things when people flag certain creators. And once again, selective enforcement is what this is going to be about. So I really do hope that in some sense the union is able to take some semblance and control and challenge these ideas.
And the way that the union's doing it too, they're setting it up in a way that their legal framework that they're trying to build their arguments on, if YouTube fails to respond to them, is that people that make the content are employees of YouTube as much as the people that moderate the content and as much as the people that provide the infrastructure for the content. So that's essentially the argument that they're trying to make, to get them full workers' rights, to get them actual like true monetization policies. And then one of the things in the European Union as well is they have a policy that says if there's personal information collected about you, you have the right to know what it is. YouTube doesn't release any of the, well, they release some, but not enough to comply with EU regulation for the content that actually has to be provided to a person about themselves in regards to information about their YouTube channel. So that's another thing that they're taking to court, is to try to say, no, a creator has the right to know who and why and when and where people are watching his videos, as much as YouTube has the right to record it.
Well, aside from the analytics, for instance, I had Gary Franchi from the Next News Network on, and if anybody read those Project Veritas Google Don't Be Evil leaks, the Next News Network was completely downranked. And it's not like they called up Gary and said, hey, man, we're going to downrank your content, just to let you know, you're doing the wrong thing. We're definitely downranking you. Forget about it. No, they put it into their algorithm where sites like his and others would, basically not show up in the suggested boxes. When you're into the videos and subscribe, maybe you don't get the notifications even if you've rung that bell. And certainly not when the video finishes will it go to another Next News Network video. Just like here, for some reason, if you watch my video all the way through and you have the play next on, what's it go to? Fox News. I'm not fucking affiliated with Fox News. I don't share the viewpoints of many of the people on Fox News, Andrew, and yet by default, I'm being associated with them as the authoritative source that's better than me. And quite frankly, that's fucked up. Not that it would be better.
And the video that follows doesn't even talk about what the fuck you talked about, first of all. They're literally like, get the fuck out of here. Like, get away from this part. Like, go look at people popping pimples and Bill O'Reilly screaming about shit. Like, that's what YouTube's for. Like, you're not actually supposed to educate people. Come on, man.
It's crazy. Andrew, we're running on 15 minutes, and there's been some audio issues back and forth. I want to apologize to the audience, but I want to thank you for coming on. It's actionforassange.com. Please go check it out. Please check out the vigils. And Andrew, I know you're raising money right now. How can people support you so you can get some boots on the ground in London on this very important issue?
So everyone else from the Action for Assange crew has talked about it, so I'll be real brief. We're trying to get Steve and Taylor to London and myself and Christy to DC for events. We have a GoFundMe account set up to do that. We're trying to raise $4,800 to pay for travel expenses, things to actually use for the action, such as like flyers, posters, lodging, potentially renting a vehicle or other types of housing or transportation. But the big thing is donate to Courage Foundation, and especially donate to Chelsea Manning's campaigns directly, because she's getting fined $1,000 a day to not perjure herself. So the price of her freedom to sit in a jail cell at this point is $1,000 a day. So I would, as much as I would love to
And
see
it's been
money
over
and
6
stuff
months,
roll into,
has it not, Andrew?
yeah,
It's been over 6 months.
and this is the third time that it's happened that she's been put in jail for this. The
And
first
let's
time
not
was when
forget,
Obama put her in.
yeah, but
Or when
Obama
the
also
Obama-
commuted her sentence, and then we charged her again. I mean, that's the crazy. One of the two things that Obama did in his presidency that I could say, hey, that wasn't a terrible thing, was commuting Chelsea Manning's sentence, which was surprised, and I thought the Iran deal, because I don't want war and I want to talk to our enemies no matter what. But the idea.
So to provide kind of a dark perspective on the Chelsea Manning thing, and this is just from what I witnessed as a political organizer trying to get in contact with her campaign to help her when she was out, because most people don't know, between the time that her sentence got commuted by Obama and she got put back into jail the second time, she actually ran for Senate. And no one talks about that. No one knows that. But she put up a decent fight. She got 3% in the Democratic primary, which is more than what most small candidates get. But so she got out of jail originally after the War Crimes Tribunal. And then she got put back into jail 18 months later for a grand jury indictment that was basically pending but expiring, sat in jail for a few months. And they keep trying to compel her to perjure herself. Hey, tell us a lie or tell us the truth that you can't remember from events that happened 10 years ago that we already have written in paper and entered into court record. So they let her out of jail for a few weeks to try to compel her testimony while they reopened another grand jury trial, and she's been in jail 6 months since then. So this has been ongoing since the original time in 2010-11 when she released these documents to WikiLeaks in the first place. So it's not just the last 6 months, it's the last decade. But the last 6 months, they fined her over $100,000 for existing within their perjury trap.
Just pure insanity. Andrew, I want to thank you once again. I'm sure I will see you very, very soon over at the Assange Vigil. I do catch bits and pieces when I'm not even a guest. I want to thank you for doing what you're doing and keeping a light on this very, very dark subject.
Hey, man. Well, thank you for being one of the people that inspired me to do it in the first place. So thanks for fighting the good fight.
You just stop. You get out of here. All right. Andrew, thank you so much. Guys, we had them all on. We had Steve, Christy, Andrew, and Taylor from Action for Assange. Go subscribe to their YouTube channel right now. And if you want to support this YouTube channel, thumbs the video up, share it with others. Consider text messaging these videos. Don't just post them on, Facebook and Twitter and Reddit, which is great. But if you text somebody, they more than likely click it. And that was video 25 today. We already did 24 and 24. We're going beyond. We did 25, and we got one more coming up for you at 11 p.m. with Titus Frost. That's going to be 26 videos in 24 hours to try to combat this idea that YouTube can just get rid of you if you're not commercially viable. Well, I'll tell you what, my documentary films never got commercially released, so maybe they're not commercially viable either. But you can find them here in the playlist section under documentaries. Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture, all available right now for free here, just like all of my work is. And folks, if you want to financially support me, this is how you do it. It's through the GoFundMe. There is no Patreon. There is no Subscribe Star. There is no bonus material. There's not a class I can teach you. And there's nothing secret about me. I want to give away all my work to as many people as possible and have that work shared because I think it's about that open discussion, the facts, disagreements, discernment, debate, real talk, not left, right, team politics that really just empowers one class, and that's the predator class. I love you guys, and I will see you at the top of the hour for video 26 on that flip side. Later on, Brian Telford, thanks, brother, for that super chat. Thank you so much, Brian. I really do appreciate that.